We have Balitaan from Anakbayan, a Filipino youth organization active in Chicago and national campaigns in support of the democratic struggle of the Filipino people and national sovereignty.
Hello everyone. We must remember that the Philippines was sold to the United States alongside Cuba and Puerto Rico in the late 1800s. And it is since then, and even before then, that we continue to fight and resist and fight for our sovereignty. Yes. As was mentioned, as Anakbayan, we fight for sovereignty and genuine democracy in the Philippines, which means true land distribution. It means fighting for the rights and welfare for our people. It means joining in the calls globally to oppose anything that threatens that across the globe, including the calls to end the blockade in Cuba, which is pushing the island into an energy crisis and a hunger crisis. And no one can deny that the U.S. blockade is violence itself. The Filipino people are no strangers to the violent hand of the U.S. in our homeland. Last year, the U.S. approved $2.5 billion in military aid to the Philippines to upgrade its bases, which the U.S. itself uses. This is in addition to the drones it sends, the helicopters, all of which are used to oppress and suppress Filipino workers, farmers, and peasants. In the midst of a fuel crisis that the Philippines is facing, the Philippines and the U.S. prioritize fuel for 3 weeks worth of military exercises instead of it actually going to the people.
Shame!
Last April 19th to 20th, the Philippine military also conducted a strafing campaign where they murdered 19 people in an agricultural community in Toboso. The 19 who were killed included Philippine-American citizens Lyle Prijoles and Kai Soram. Those two U.S. citizens were my friends. They were my comrades. They were murdered alongside others who were in the community to interview, research, and support the local community, which was being exploited by a local landlord so that they could grow sugarcane. When they found out that the landlord had no land title, they united to stop growing sugarcane and to actually grow vegetables, to grow food that would sustain them. Because the wages that they earned each year was not enough. What resulted is the landlord called in the local government, who then called in the Philippine military and massacred the people. And how did the governments respond? The Philippine President Marcos' response was congratulations to the military. The Trump administration's response of having 2 of its nationals killed was nothing. They said nothing because the U.S. does not care if the people in the Philippines or in Cuba do not have enough to eat. It only cares about its dominance. Over the last few months, the Filipino community pushed forward a campaign to stop the Philippine president from obtaining a seat for the UN Security Council, because we knew that Marcos is the #1 threat to the Filipino people and to the people all across the globe. We knew that if he sat on that council, he would be a pawn to the United States, and he would vote along the United States on anything, including on the blockade in Cuba. This morning, Marcos was denied that seat, and we celebrate that victory today at 6 p.m. in front of the Philippine consulate. And while we celebrate this win, we must remember that we still have more fights ahead. While we will not have Marcos in the UN Security Council to vote alongside the U.S., which is a huge win, we must remember that we still need to ensure that the world globally can see the attacks that are happening in the Philippines, the attacks that are happening in Cuba. And so with that, we must push harder to band together and to resist U.S. domination globally. We call an end to the U.S. blockade in Cuba. We call hands off Cuba and U.S. out of the Philippines. Thank you.